Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here. My name is Brian, and for this video, I am going to highlight some titles from Kino for the month of April that I think look interesting. A few of these I've already seen, many of them I have not, but this is stuff that intrigues me, and if you're interested in titles coming from Kino this month, here are a few that I'm going to call out. Okay, so let's start with something familiar. Let's start with Spaceballs in 4K Ultra HD. And yeah, everybody knows Spaceballs, classic Mel Brooks send-up of Star Wars and other science fiction, and it's still funny. You know, it's apparently not always going to hit with young folks. I've heard stories of people being shown this in classes and it's dying a horrible death. But I still think it's funny. Not his funniest movie, you know, not Young Frankenstein funny, but still very funny. And so you have all your favorite Spaceballs characters. You have Dark Helmet, you have Yogurt, you have Barf, you have Lone Star, and you have Princess... I forget her last name. The Druish princess, played by Daphne Zuniga, who I adore, absolutely adore her. Vespa, was that her name? I think so. So anyway, this is 4K Ultra HD, and it also comes with a Blu-ray and a whole bunch of extra features. The commentary from Mel Brooks is actually from the Laserdisc of Spaceballs, but that doesn't make it any less interesting. He has a lot of cool stuff to say on that track, and I was very entertained by it, as you would think you would be if you're hanging out with Mel Brooks and he's talking about his movie, you know? I mean, there's one bit that I thought was super funny, was the scene where Rick Moranis is playing with the dolls, apparently, and this is going to be no news to, I'm sure, a lot of people, but I didn't realize that he improvised that entire scenario where the dolls are talking to each other and, you know, somebody walks in on him, and apparently there was no scripted lines for that at all. So I thought that was kind of neat. But yeah, so you've got featurette, Spaceballs, a documentary, in conversation with Mel Brooks and his co-writer, a John Candy featurette, watch Spaceballs in ludicrous speed. So this looked pretty good. I don't see anything about HDR on here, so I'm assuming not. But it still looked pretty sharp, you know, for a 1987 film, you know, MGM master. It looks good. Like, I was impressed. And so you have your two discs inside, your 4K and your Blu-ray. But yeah, this is a nice, you know, new edition of something of an 80s comedy staple from Kino. So Spaceballs in 4K is my first. Then we have this one. You know what? That doesn't make any sense. Let's do this. Let's talk more Mel Brooks. Let's talk about the producers. This is a new version of the producers. I don't know if this is a new transfer or not. It doesn't say on the back that I can see. But this, of course, is Mel Brooks's sort of debut and an incredible, still edgy comic tour de force about a play being put on that the producers would love to fail. The play is called Springtime for Hitler, and it is not a failure, and that is a problem. But one of the great Gene Wilder performances, one of the great Zero Mostel performances, and it's just a classic, you know, a real classic. Funnier than Spaceballs, certainly. It has an audio commentary by filmmaker, film historian Michael Schlesinger, the making of the producers, a Playhouse outtake, and Peter Sellers' statement read by Paul Mazursky. So this is a Region A locked disc, but again, two Mel Brooks gems coming from Kino. Then let's talk about Dynasty. I am so fascinated to see this movie. I do have a 3D setup. 3D Film Archive is involved there, as you can see at the bottom. It I have I have an old PlayStation 3 and an older 3D television. And so when Silent Madness came out, I watched that in 3D. Friday the 13th 3 I watched in 3D up there, and it looks great. And so this one just looks like a lot of fun. It says, when an emperor's son is accused of treason against the throne, he ends up in a fight for his life against all comers. Directed by Mei Chun Chang, Revenge of the Shogun Women, this pop-out martial arts spectacular stars Bobby Ming, Tao Ling, Tan, Kai Chin, David Wei Tang, and Yin Bei, who was given an award for Best Supporting Actor at the 1977 Golden Horse Film Festival. This special edition is the first 3D archive release in compatible 3D, so you can view it on any system. Includes both BD 3D polarized and anaglyph red and blue 3D versions, and contains one pair of anaglyph 3D glasses in with information on how to acquire additional glasses. So you can watch this in 3D even if you don't have a 3D TV, which is always great. So in here is going to be a pair of glasses. So you have, for features, the House of Terror restored 1953 3D comic book. Very curious about that, to see that in 3D. 2 stereo slide presentations of the film. Presentations from 10-time Emmy Award-winning writer Eric Drysdale. Sold on stereo, commercial 3D in the 1950s, and inside a mid-century department store. So those are, I don't know if they're stereo slide, I think means they're in 3D as well. Maybe. Go Away, I Like You Too Much, 3D music video. And then Super Touch Lens System featurette by 3D expert Mike Ballou. Restored 4-channel quadraphonic sound as well, so that's also cool. And this is super wide screen, 239:1. So that just looks like a blast to me. So that is coming out this month from Kino. Let's see here. Let's do this next. This is a Scorpion release, but it's via Kino, and this one is just one of those sci-fi movies I think I heard about from Joe Dante or something at some point. And Il Melchior, who is the screenplay writer of this, does a Trailers from Hell that I recommend you go check out. But it's, let's see here. Scientists step through a time portal and travel 107 years into the future. They find a barren underground post-nuclear war world where a handful of normal humans are being attacked by mutants. Preston Foster, Mary Anders, Steve Franken, and Dennis Patrick star in this sci-fi classic. Now watch this thrilling adventure from a brand new 2020 2K scan. So brand new scan on the Time Travelers. And if you're into 60s sci-fi, 50s sci-fi, this is from 64, but it feels like a 50s sci-fi movie to me in some ways, and that's not a bad thing. Maybe a little edgier, maybe a little darker in terms of the future world and the creeps, and it just has a sense of doom about it. I'm a big fan of this one, and very excited about a Blu-ray release with a new scan. So that's the Time Travelers. Next we have one I've never heard of before, but looks interesting. A Lovely Way to Die. This from 1968, starring, as you can see, Kirk Douglas and Eli Wallach and Sylvia Cassina. Stars, let's see here. Lovely Way to Die stars screen legend Kirk Douglas as Skyler, a hard-boiled police detective who turns in his badge after charges of brutality are made against him. Hired by a prominent attorney, Eli Wallach, Skyler is assigned to protect Raina Westabrook, Sylvia Cassina, a beautiful young woman who is accused of murdering her wealthy husband. While trying to uncover more information about the murder, Skyler falls for his lovely client and gets embroiled in the murderous scheme of blackmail, deadly secrets, and lies. David Lowell Rich wonderfully directed this colorful 60s caper, featuring an early unbilled screen appearances by Ally McGraw, Doris Roberts, and John P. Ryan. So that, I don't know, it sounds interesting. Could be campy, could be silly. Kirk Douglas, kind of actiony. Region A disc, an audio commentary from film historians Howard S. Berger and Steve Mitchell. But intrigued by that one. Sort of slipped by me. I've tried to get a little better with 60s espionage, action, thriller cinema, and For some reason, that one still eluded me. Okay, lastly, we got a couple box sets. You have Kino Lorber II, which is a really... I mean, the boxes are fairly straightforward cardboard. Nothing too fancy. But that's what that looks like. And in this one, you are getting The Princess Comes Across from 1936. I'm just going to go through the extras on these. Just know that this set is going to be worthwhile if you're a fan of Kino Lorber. So I'm not going to go through plot synopses on these, but if you were interested in her at all, if you liked the previous set, this one looks pretty good to me. But I will say that this has a brand new 2K master and audio commentary by filmmaker Alan Arkush and filmmaker historian Daniel Creamer. And I love Alan Arkush's commentaries. They're always enjoyable. Next we have Hands Across the Table from 1935. This is directed by Mitchell Leisen, who did a lot of fun ones, including Easy Living, some stuff based on Preston Sturges scripts. Midnight, which is really strong. That's a Billy Wilder co-written script. Was it Billy Wilder and Charles Brackett? I can't remember. Anyway, Mitchell Eisen is an interesting director who did some funny movies, usually off of good scripts. And so I'm definitely curious about this one. Fred MacMurray is in both. So you got a little double dose of Fred MacMurray and Kino Lorber there. This one also has an Alan Arkush, Daniel Creamer commentary, so very much looking forward to that. And then lastly in the set, we have Love Before Breakfast with Preston Foster and Steger Romero. This one has a commentary by film historians Alexandra Heller-Nicholas and Josh Nelson, who I'm a fan of their tracks they've been doing for Kino, and I haven't heard them do a classic film yet, so very excited about that. So that is the Kino Lorber set. Looks definitely worth picking up. And lastly, I haven't even opened this one yet, Western Classics 2. This one includes Redhead from Wyoming, Pillars of the Sky, and a Gun for a Coward. And yeah, I don't know. I like these Western collections. I really don't know anything about these movies. You know, I see Maureen O'Hara, who I'm a huge fan of, in Redhead from Wyoming, so I'm into that. Jeff Chandler and Dorothy Malone and Ward Bond, and Lee Marvin in Pillars of the Sky. So that looks intriguing too. And Gun for a Coward, Fred MacMurray again, Jeffrey Hunter, Janice Rule, Chill Wills, and Dean Stockwell. So I don't know much about those. I'm going to dive in and research them a little bit more, but the Western Classics series was fun in the first inclination, or the first round. And so anyway, that is what you have here. Western Classics Volume 2. So that will do it for this sort of short recommendation / highlights of Kino's output for April. Let me know if you pick any of these up, or if there are other April titles that you are excited about in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you like what I do. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.